Listen up, entrepreneurs. Have you ever wondered why some entrepreneurs are so incredibly successful? And wouldn't it be valuable to you if you could replicate their success? Well, hold on to your hat because in this episode, we're going to be unlocking the secret vault to success with our special guest, 8-figure entrepreneur, Nathan Hirsch. So tune in as Nathan shares his amazing entrepreneurial journey and his best advice for how you can scale your business. I'm awesome Angie Engstrom.
And I'm GITTE. And once again, welcome, Nathan. We're so excited to have you on the show today. So welcome.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Sorry, I rescheduled on you guys a few times. I think I'm the only one in my family that didn't get sick. So thanks for bearing with me. And I'm excited to have this podcast with you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
glad
so
you're
are we.
well and with us. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Of course.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're really excited to have you on this show because we know you'll be sharing some gold with our audience. So, yeah, I'm just going to start by doing a short bio. If you don't know Nathan already, so yeah, okay, here we go. Nathan is actually a lifelong entrepreneur. He started out as an entrepreneur way back in 2009, where he started out by selling textbooks in college on Amazon. Later went on to co-found FreeUp.net in 2015 with his partner Connor Gilvin with an initial investment of, it's only $5,000. Amazing, right? And he's actually ended up scaling it to astonishing $12 million in yearly revenue. And then he went on to sell it in 2019. What a journey. Okay, so today Nathan actually owns a portfolio of companies with his partner and is also on a mission to make entrepreneurship simpler for millions. So yeah, that's what we'll be talking about today, and I'm super pumped about it, really excited. So yeah, welcome once again, Nathan.
Yeah, thanks. It's being an entrepreneur. I just love doing it. I've never had a real job. I've been building businesses since I was 20, and I think I'm fortunate enough to learn some skills like sales and customer service and hiring early on at being an entrepreneur, along with a lot of mistakes that went through it. And I think all those hard lessons that I learned in the first few years, I still apply today.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
That's awesome. So right now, what is your business these days?
So I have a portfolio of businesses. I have Outsource School, which is the shirt that I'm wearing, which is my membership where we teach people our hiring process and give them all of our SOPs. I own 2 bookkeeping businesses, one for e-commerce sellers, which is a higher price point, and one for just other online businesses, Ecom Balance and Accounts Balance, monthly bookkeeping, clean reports every 15th. And then I own an SEO business, Trio SEO, where we put out high quality content and drive high intent buyers to your blog or to your website through your blog. So I use a co-media company to promote my personal brand, promote all these different companies, and I like to build businesses that are quote unquote boring, like bookkeeping, SEO, hiring, stuff that applies to lots of different businesses, and put my own spin on it, usually around great customer service and systems and processes. And I'll probably just keep spinning up different B2B businesses and keep marketing my personal brand to raise awareness for them.
That's fantastic. It's really smart to find. I like that you use the word boring. It's
Yeah.
really smart to just find something. Every business needs bookkeeping, or they should be. They need it if they don't have it. And yeah, and it's boring, but that's where the gold is as an entrepreneur. Find the masses that need a service. And obviously
Yeah.
it's worked great for you. How did you get started in this? Like that's a pretty interesting niche. Do you have an accounting background? Like how did you get into this segment?
I don't. I mean, that's kind of the beauty of it and the challenge of it and the fun of it is I'm not a bookkeeper. I'm not a CPA. So to start a bookkeeping business, it really challenged me to delegate from day one. I can't start a bookkeeping business without hiring a controller, a bookkeeper, someone with lots of experience. And whenever we start any company now, we always delegate from day one. We hire an operator from day one. And sometimes we'll have a business idea and we'll sit on that idea for months. Maybe we'll do research on it, but we don't actually start it until we find that operator. So with the bookkeeping, we had the idea. we did a lot of market research. We did a lot of interviewing people and networking, and finally came across Shelly, our controller, who has 30 years of experience. She was an e-commerce seller herself. And only then did we start the bookkeeping business. And now we're kind of in a fun position because we're running all these different companies, my partner and I, but we're not in fulfillment of any of these companies from day one. And it allows us to do two things. One, focus a lot more on marketing and growing our personal brand and driving customers into our businesses. But then two, talking to our operators on a weekly basis and figuring out, how do we support them? Can we help them hire? Can we help them with the problem they're having? Can we help them build systems? And it kind of changes my mentality from early on when I was an entrepreneur, when I was running an Amazon business, when I was running FreeUp, the marketplace that I sold, where maybe I wasn't doing every part of fulfillment, but I was very involved in everything. I was really the manager and everyone was kind of underneath me. So it's been kind of fun to challenge myself to become that next step of entrepreneur where you're delegating from day one and it forces you to trust people and build really good processes.
Mm,
I love that.
so
Delegate from
good.
day one. I love that.
Yeah. Now, before we jumped on camera, actually, we were talking about the difference between delegating and outsourcing. Would you touch briefly on that?
Yeah, I mean they're very similar. Delegating is taking stuff off your plate as an entrepreneur and assigning it to someone else and really trusting them to do it. And then outsourcing it is really the same thing, but usually it's people outside the U.S. I like to hire a lot from the Philippines. One of my claims to
Mm,
fame with FreeUp, we had thousands of freelancers from all over the world on the platform, but my internal team was 30 VAs in the Philippines doing everything from customer service to bookkeeping, lead generation. They would take sales calls. They did all of our marketing. The whole business was run by virtual assistants, and we got it to 8 figures and we sold it with no office and no US employees. So that's
mm,
delegating at the highest possible level. Or, I'm sorry, that's outsourcing at the highest possible level. But there are lots of entrepreneurs that delegate to an in-person assistant or a team in their office or even a remote US team, probably not considered outsourcing.
mm. Okay. So, in your opinion, why is it important for us as entrepreneurs to use delegating or outsourcing?
Yeah, so let me tell you a story. I was a 21-year-old entrepreneur and I was having my first glimpse of success, making money. And my parents told me I should probably pay taxes. So I met with an accountant. And the first question that accountant asked me was, when are you going to hire your first person? And
Mm,
I said, why would I do that? That's money out of my pocket. They're going to steal my ideas. They could hurt my business. I could do this 7 days a week forever. Like, this is fun. That's going to cost me money, all the standard excuses that entrepreneurs have to not trust other people, not delegate it, and to do everything themselves. And this accountant laughed in my face and said, you're going to learn this lesson on your own. And sure enough, this was an e-commerce business. My first busy season came around, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and I just get destroyed. I'm in college, I'm working 20 days a week, my grades suffer, I have no social life, and I work my butt off to keep this business alive and get through to January. And when I finally get past New Year's, I say to myself, okay, I can never let that happen again. I need to hire people. And that's where a lot of entrepreneurs find themselves. They hold off delegating, they procrastinate, they do everything themselves. And eventually you're not going to be able to do it anymore. Whether you have a situation like me where you just burn yourself out, or just over time you burn yourself out, or you just run out of hours in the day and your business suffers. And there's a real opportunity cost to not hiring. So you're never going to hire at the exact right time that you should hire, but you're either going to hire too early or too late. And I would encourage you to hire too early because there's a learning curve that goes with it. And there's an opportunity cost if you hire too late.
Oh, that's wonderful.
so good. Yeah.
Yeah, I love this. Yeah, I like that we're talking about the importance of delegating, because GITTE and I are actually a delegating resource for businesses that are looking to scale. For an example, like what we do at Elite Virtual Stages is helping entrepreneurs do transformational virtual masterclasses. And one of the objections that we get, often is that people try to do the masterclass on their own because they think, it's just jumping on a Zoom call and talking to their tribe and making, an offer. And it's just so much more than that. And there's so much in the background to create a high converting masterclass. So What's your best advice to help a business make that decision to finally delegate when they're thinking that they can do it on their own?
Yeah, and to kind of your point, I'm a big proponent of anything you can do to skip the learning process. Like someone could figure out how to do a virtual masterclass, but there's going to be a lot of trial and error that goes with it and a lot of mistakes. And it's similar to outsource school. It's like you can do what I did, which is spend 5 years learning all the mistakes of hiring people, having all the issues, and eventually you build a good hiring process. Or you can go to outsource school, grab my hiring process, plug it into your business and skip those mistakes. And that's what a lot of entrepreneurs need to decide is it worth doing trial and error on everything? Because you can't master everything as an entrepreneur. Eventually you have to hire something or buy a system and plug it into your business and save yourself the time, the money, and the hassle that goes with it. And if you're someone that's struggled to delegate in the past, my advice is to start over with something easy, something that's not going to hurt your business if it goes wrong. You can make a list of everything you do on a week to week basis, prioritize it from easiest to hardest, start with the easiest. And a good example of something to start with, and one of our most popular SOPs that we sell with Outsource School is our podcast outreach formula. It's how to have a VA essentially become your podcast agent and pitch you to go on podcasts, pitch you to go on stages, pitch you to go on summits and masterminds or whatever. And it's a great starting point for someone looking to delegate because there's very little downside. Like best case scenario, they get you on a bunch of podcasts and that's great. And worst case scenario, they don't get you on any podcast and whatever, you'll be completely fine. But you'll learn a lot in the process and you'll trust yourself more and you'll be able to and if it goes well or you get better at it, then you'll be able to take more and more and more off your plate. And then it becomes addicting. Then it becomes fun. Then you become like me, where you're trying to push the limits on what you can use a virtual assistant for. Like I'll have VAs do podcasts for me and be my guest. I'll have VAs do sales calls for me. They'll do my marketing. Like you can really push the limits on what VAs do, but start off easy. Start off something that if it completely fails and you mess up, you're going to be okay.
So how do you recommend that a business finds their first VA?
Yeah, so I get that question a lot. Like, where should you go? And obviously, I'm biased. I built a freelance marketplace, Free Up, and they're great. But there's really three avenues you can go. You can go the direct hire, and that could be a referral from someone on your team. It could be a Facebook group of VAs. It could be a VA you just come across on LinkedIn. That's kind of your direct hire. Then you've got the marketplace, which is the Free Up, Upworks, Fivers of the world. And then you got the agencies, the ones that train their VAs, manage the VAs, and you're going through their agency service. And they each have their pros and cons. The direct hire is cheaper, right? Because there's no add-on fees, but there's very little protection there. If you make a direct hire from a Facebook group, which I've done many times, if that person disappears, like you're not leaving them a bad review somewhere, there's very little repercussion. If you go to a marketplace, you've got protection, like Free Up. If someone quits, they cover all replacement costs. Upwork, you can leave a bad review. You can file a dispute. You're paying a fee, but you're getting a protection for that fee. And you get like their portfolio. You can see past reviews. There's some benefits there. And then the agency is the toughest because you're usually paying the most, but it also comes with a lot of risk because you could treat someone really well and do a good job. But if the agency doesn't treat them well, then they might leave the agency. And the agency has the potential to do sketchy things like switch VAs on you without telling you and stuff like that. And you really have to think to yourself, what is the value that this agency is providing? And there are a lot of great agencies out there. There's agencies that train VAs how to do marketing or how to do something, and it's going to save you a lot of time to go with this agency. Just make sure you vet the agency because your hiring is only going to be as good as the agency and their processes. So long answer, but there's no one way to hire someone. You just have to decide, do I want to do the direct hire? Do I want to do the marketplace? Or do I want to do the agency?
I love that breakdown. Thank you, Nathan. That was very clear. I love that.
Yeah,
No problem.
Yeah, what do you got, Giddy?
absolutely. Yeah, I was just going to go back to your entrepreneur story, if that's okay. If you wanted to give some kind of advice to entrepreneurs who want to scale the business, what would you say?
So I've always been a proponent of minimum viable product. One thing that's probably held me back as an entrepreneur is I'm pretty risk adverse. Like I'm an entrepreneur, I build businesses, but I don't think I take that many risks. It's not like I take $500,000 and dump it into an idea. what I do for all my businesses is I do a lot of market research. I find an operator and then I launch it with some kind of beta, some kind of test. And with Amazon, I tried drop shipping a few products. And if it failed, I was going to refund everyone and move on to something else. And if it worked, I was just going to try and experiment more. With FreeUp, I gave out some free VA hours. With Outsource School, we sold a pre-sale of the course before we even made the course to see if there was any interest. With bookkeeping, we gave out 2 free months of bookkeeping. If I couldn't give out 2 free months of bookkeeping, well, I didn't have a business. If people didn't stay with us after those 2 free months, I didn't have a business. So before I invest a lot of money and build this big team and spend all this time on a business, I get the business out there, I market it, I do a launch, and I see, is there actually interest in this business? And I've had businesses that go the other way too. I built this SOP building software called Simply SOP, and I learned pretty quickly that there just wasn't a market for it. I put in a few $1,000s, I tested it, there wasn't a market, I sold it back to the developer, and I moved on to something else. And I didn't spend the next 5 years working on it just because it was an idea and my baby and I really liked it. So sales cures everything. Go out there with your idea and see if you can actually sell it. And that's going to teach you so much about what your customers actually care about. You can make tweaks, you can make adjustments to it. Once you start selling it, then you can put more money into it, more time into it, stuff like that. But I've just seen so many entrepreneurs, they have this great idea. They'll spend a year working on it, trying to perfect it, and then they'll take it to market. And then they'll realize the market isn't what they thought they is. So get the product out there as simple as possible. It doesn't need to be a finished product. Our VA marketplace was a crummy piece of software that we just took to market and got feedback on and saw if people actually wanted it. And only when we saw there was a market did we invest more in the software and the marketing and everything else.
Okay. Now, I heard you mention something about free trials. Would you recommend including that?
Yeah, I mean, within reason, like free trial is great for a software product. Giving away free anything can be good to get your initial clients. Like if I was running a PPC agency, do some free work, get some testimonials, and then use those testimonials to get different clients. You want to be reasonable about it. You want it to eventually turn into paying clients, and you want to do your research too. Like I'm giving away 2 months of free bookkeeping, but if I approach someone and they're hemorrhaging money every month or they don't have a real business, like that's not a good client for me to test on. So
Yeah.
I'm still being picky on who I'm taking on as clients, even if it's free.
Yeah, great twist. Thank you.
Yeah, I love that. Our listeners love stories. So can you share any other successful client stories or anything around this whole delegation talk?
Yeah, I mean, I can share my own story of just selling FreeUp. Like we FreeUp, we build all our businesses to be sellable, even if we don't want to sell them. And what that means is a few things. Clean financials, which is why we started a bookkeeping business. You can't sell a business without clean financials, and you can't make good decisions without clean financials either. A strong internal team where you're not the fulfillment. You can be the face of your business. You can be the marketing. Someone can always come in with a different marketing plan, a whole marketing team, and redo all your marketing and do a different marketing strategy. But if you're the one actually doing the fulfillment, no one wants to buy that business. You need a real team that's doing the fulfillment. You need strong SOPs, everything documented. When we sold FreeUp, we turned over 50, 100 pages of SOPs in Google Docs of how you do every single thing, how we handle every customer service issue, how billing's done every month, how we do marketing, how we do guest blog posts. Everything has a process there. And then the last thing is just your SEO and how you're getting clients. If you're only getting clients one way, like let's say you have a podcast and the only way you get clients is through the podcast, that's tough for someone to buy because if they don't do the podcast as good as you, they don't have a way of getting clients. So having different marketing channels, podcasts, SEO, Facebook ads, like referrals, all these different ways, that's what helps you sell a business. And due diligence when we went to sell FreeUp was super stressful. It was the most stressful 6 months of my life. And that was with clean financials, great team, great SOPs, different marketing channels. It's very hard to sell a business if you don't have all of those. And delegating and having that team is incredibly important. And our sale couldn't have gone better. And we've seen this with our clients too. Like the clients that have clean books, they're the ones that are able to get investments or fundings or sell their company. The clients that use Outsource School and hire A players, that helps them scale and grow and opens up opportunities, whether they want to sell the business or keep running it. So it's not the most sexy thing in the world, like TikTok ads or that shiny object, but keeping it simple when you focus on good hiring, good process, good financials, good marketing, that's what makes it a good business across the board.
I love this.
Yeah.
Nathan, this has been fantastic. Any last comments before we ask you the final question?
No, I mean, don't give up. Hiring it is hard. No one has a 100% hiring rate, but it is a skill that you can learn. And it's what separates great entrepreneurs from bad entrepreneurs. Like you can be an average entrepreneur, but if you're great at hiring, that's going to make everything better. It makes everything else easier. And you could have the best ideas in the world, but if you can't hire, it's always going to hold you back. So if you're going to learn one skill as an entrepreneur, it's not Facebook ads, it's nothing in marketing. It's learn how to hire, and that's going to help accelerate your business. And that's really why I built Outsource School, to just make it easier for everyone.
I love this. This is fantastic, Nathan. Thank you for this message today. I really appreciate it.
No
Yeah,
problem.
it's been fantastic diving into the world of delegating and outsourcing. Really, really powerful. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Now, if people want to work more with you or want to know more about you, what would be the next step? Where would they go to find you?
So I have this organic marketing blueprint that I think everyone should check out. If you go to outsourceschool.com/organic marketing, it's how we run all the marketing for all of our businesses with virtual assistants. It's a great place to start with delegating, kind of like what I mentioned before on the podcasting. It's just easy stuff that isn't going to destroy your business if it goes wrong, but if it goes well, it's going to accelerate your business and it's going to make hiring addicted for you. So that's a great place to start. You can also check me out, Nathan Hirsch, nathanhirsch.com, any social media channel. I'm always on a mission to make entrepreneurship simpler, and I try to put out content every day to help do that.
Excellent.
Thank
And
you.
we'll put all that in the show notes too.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing for sharing with us today, Nathan. It's been a pleasure having you here. I'm GITTE.
And I'm awesome, Angie, honoring the awesomeness in all of you. So thank you for listening. Keep your momentum, keep moving forward. And if you want to learn more about Elite Virtual Stages and how we turn your expertise into 6- and 7-figure days using transformational virtual masterclasses, you can find us on Facebook and on the web at elitevirtualstages.com/report. And keep your momentum, everybody. Keep being awesome.